Follow me on Facebook. Tour dates are published there. And like Jack said, proud to add Los Angeles to the long list of places that I've been invited to speak once. It's always it's great. I've done one graduation commencement. I was glad to do that and get banned off of that, so I won't be doing that anymore. I've spoken at lots of places one time. It's excellent. I was even just telling Lyle, we didn't get a chance to share this. I actually announced at a very popular upper cervical event. I had spoken there 3 times in a row, and it was on the 4th one. I just decided, and Lyle was like, well, you should just go up there and just tell them, just bring it how it is. And there was one time that actually, on the last event, this event still goes on annually, but the last time I was there, I told them, this will be the last time that you invite me, because I have some things that I wanted to share with you, and you're not going to like it. But that reminded me then of this thing that there's this idea that I come to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comforted. And I think that what happens is somewhere along the line for chiropractic seminars have become an awful lot about just rah-rah and getting us fired up. And so I want you to know that that's not my gig. If you're not already fired up about chiropractic, then you need to go backwards in time. I figure if you ended up in a seminar, sitting in a seminar that I'm speaking at, that you're already fired up. And so this whole deal, this next 30, 40 minutes is about elevating you to the next level. Not about getting you excited about what we do. If you're not excited, you can go ahead and go out. I won't even be offended. You have to already be excited to even have a chance at digesting what I'm going to say. We have to understand that we don't come, who took a Saturday of your time to be made comfortable? I just want to go and be around other chiropractors so I can feel comfortable about what it is that I do. Or would you rather be challenged so that you could be better? There's too much, I can't believe the amount of money that you guys spend on being made comfortable. Even in the schools, all what you're saying, Doc, is not making me comfortable. I've been banned from teaching at schools because what I'm saying is not comfortable. I didn't come here to comfort the uncomfortable. I came to afflict the comfortable. I came to challenge you. I came to see if we could elevate your game just a little bit, right? So I decided to come up with this thing, Going Green. And Joel was telling me, that's really great. There's so many ways that you could go with that. And so I just wanted to, begin by asking, how many of you are drinking a green smoothie every day? That's not what I'm talking about. How many of you are recycling? That's not what I'm talking about. Going green, what does that mean? Getting back to the roots and talking about green books. More chiropractors drink green smoothies than read green books. This is a problem. We've got to get serious about this thing called chiropractic. It's time that we really get our focus and our head on straight and realize that it's not going green means your daily dose of greens. I'm not talking about that little powder that you dump in your smoothie. I'm talking about a book. The same thing that we were talking about, Fame and Fortune. Is this an original? It is an original. This is worth a lot of money right here.
That book.
And signed by who, Lyle? Oh, BJ. Dear Milton, this is great. You got to get a little bit of this every day. Can you imagine, when Tony came to the Alliance, I told him, where's your green book? You got to be reading green books every day. You can't get up and have a chance of preaching if you're not reading the Bible. I would never go to a church where the pastor was up there and he was like, so there's this book. and I heard that it's really good. And then they talk about, I would be like, what are you talking? They've got to own this stuff. Otherwise, you know what? It's not believable, is it? Chiropractic has been minimized down to bumper sticker sayings. That just makes me so sick. Remember I told you, I got it, okay, I'm going to just go ahead and hit you once and then I'll ask you for permission. But listen, when I see chiropractors that love this, the power's on, when was it ever off? If they came into the office and they were alive, it wasn't off. If the power's off, that's philosophically not even sound. The power's on-er, I guess, might work. But, we've made these things. The power that made the body heals the body. That's bumpers. That's a nice bumper sticker. That does not help sick people get well. right? We've got to really dive down deep. We've got to know things about, transmission of mental impulses. We've got to know where these mental impulses come from. When you talk about, this is my favorite, going into a chiropractic college. Going into a chiropractic college of senior level students. I could do this with practicing chiropractors too. When I said to them, not even what is chiropractic, like that's a challenge, right? Well, I said, just tell me this. When you say nervous system interference, what exactly do you mean? People always go, oh, you see nervous system interference. So what does that mean? Like, what do you mean? The messages from my brain, like what does that mean? Oh, the messages from your brain don't get to the liver. What? Like, how does that exactly work? Well, the bones are smashing on the nerve. Well, that's not exactly how that works. Well, and as a chiropractic student, don't you really want to know? Don't you want to own what that means? Right? I also noticed one of the things, got ahead of myself, so if you want to leave, you can leave now. I'm going to ask you for your permission first. Listen, if you ever have a great idea, and this actually happened to me. You have a great idea, this was recent. I talk about this all the time. And you then share that idea with somebody, and they kind of don't know all the details of it, so you're like, oh, I got this phenomenal idea, guess what, we're going to do this thing. And she's like, Shawn, that's the dumbest, what? How do you feel about that? I feel bad, right? Especially if I trust her, if I know her. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is my baby. We're going to do this thing. Imagine, like, Liam comes to Jack. Jack, we're going to do this Schubel vision. And Jack's like, what do you want to hear you speak? It should be Berla vision, if anything. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. How would Liam feel? Liam would be fine with it, actually. But John, he would be hurt because, he lives from his heart, right? He would say, that hurts my feelings. So here's the deal. I've learned that anytime you want to challenge somebody, if somebody has an idea, they want to share it with you, you should always ask permission. And people come up to me all the time, especially after some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. Oh, Dr. Dill, I've got a great idea. And then they'll say it, and I'll have to say, is it okay if I share some feedback with you? Like, even today, with a close friend, would you like some feedback about this? Because if you want me to tell you it's great, if you just want support, I could do that. Or I might be able to offer you some honest feedback, but sometimes people don't want feedback. They just want you to say, this is great. But here's the thing, for you today. Do I have your permission to enter in? Are you willing to open up what you understand chiropractic to be? And today specifically, how you communicate chiropractic. And take ownership and responsibility for some of the things that we might have done in the past that may be messing up our public perception. And allow me to challenge you on some of the things that you're currently doing in order for you to get better. Do I have your permission?
Yes.
Okay, so you gave it to me, we're allowed to go. I'm going to talk about how to talk about what you do without sounding bland, boring, or like everybody else. And this is the exact same quote that my coach uses in order to teach a system that's called Book Yourself Solid. How to get book solid. So my coach is Michael Port. Wrote a great book, Book Yourself Solid. Highly recommend it to you. Super easy read. It's a systemized approach to being book solid for service professionals. But one of the things that he talks about is we have to be willing to take ownership of the way that we are talking about our profession or whatever it is, the service that we provide. And we have wrongly been instilled. Oh, let's just check LACC for a second. How many of you guys know about the elevator speech?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
Chiropractors, how many of you think it's important to have a good elevator speech? A couple. But you don't even know what it is. That's excellent, so forget about it. Anybody ever tells you about the elevator speech? Just stop, just put mute. I'm not going to listen to that. Does anybody know where the elevator speech came from?
It's something that has to be short enough that you can tell somebody while you're on an elevator with them.
Sure, but why would we want to do that? The whole thing of an elevator. Why would you want to ever be in an elevator and...
Well, it's because it's a short amount of time. So it's
right.
A short amount of time, so to get from one level to the next level, you want to spit whatever you have to that person in a short amount of time, but very concise. Yeah, it could be captive audience in there. Well, first of all, I mean, we're here in the hotel. How many of you are staying at the hotel? How many of you, while you're staying here, like, you've gotten in the elevator and, like, the door closed and there's some dude in there and he's like, we know about mechanics. I do transmissions. You know what the transmission is? Like, how many of you had that happen to you? And so how many of you think that that would be enjoyable? Especially like you're like on the, you know, the 56th floor and you're just watching that thing and that guy's like, no, I'm serious, it's fascinating. You know the transmission fluid, you gotta check the viscosity of that stuff, and you're just sitting there like you think, this is great. I mean, how lucky am I that I got in the elevator with you? This is like, how many people love that? Nobody loves that, right? How many of you love giving your elevator speech? You're like, dude, I'm just hoping that somebody comes in and like the guy comes in and the door closes and you're like, yes, I got you now. I think people say that, like that's what they do, right? Like, oh, I love giving my elevator speech. That's like a chiropractor saying, I love spinal screening. I put on my orange jumpsuit and get my plastic spine and I stand out in front of Walmart and I am in heaven. Like a light shines down on me and it says, "Aw, this man knows chiropractic." Nobody loves that. I know that some people may do it, but you don't love doing it. And so what my suggestion is, let's kill the elevator speech. First of all, elevator speeches come about out of the Northern California, the Bay Area. Elevator speeches have their birth out of, anybody know now? Silicon Valley and the dot-com era. Venture capitalists. People like Guy Kawasaki back in the day, right? And these guys that are funding millions of dollars, and you have this brilliant idea to load other people's videos on the internet, and that people are going to just load videos of Liam Schubel and Christmas videos and kids' concerts, and other people would want to watch them, right? That's a really dumb idea, isn't it? What did that go on to become? You know, one of the awesome things, a quick side note, I got to tell you this. Guy Kawasaki, I heard him speak, and somebody asked him, this is so promising for some of you, especially Liam, this is so promising, because they asked Guy Kawasaki, before you fund, before you angel invest into something of big magnitude, before you drop $20 million on a project, what are you looking for? He said, this is very simple. I'm looking for unproven people with an unproven product in an unproven market. That changed my world. That shapes everything that I'm going to talk to you about. Unproven people with an unproven product in an unproven market. That's what gets you $20 million from Guy Kawasaki. He said, think about it. Think about it. These people say, dude, you know what I'm going to do? Dale and I have got a great idea. We're going to take other people's junk and we're going to post it on the internet, and then people from all over the world are going to want to buy it. And everybody said, that's dumb. Nobody's going to buy your stupid cup. No, I'm serious. I'm going to put like cups and plates and my old clothes. I'll put car tires on there. People are going to want this stuff. And people are like, that's dumb. And what did that become? People said, let's post these videos of Christmas, of family videos, and people will watch them sing and make fools of themselves. That's dumb. Let's make it, you know what? Let's make an encyclopedia of every website known to man. And let's store it just on a single frame page, and then people could look for things that they want. But people don't want that. That's Google. Unproven people with unproven products in an unproven market. So listen to me. If you want to be successful, then stop doing what we've done, because you keep trying to emulate proven people in a proven market with a proven thing, but all we've proved is that we can reach a magnificent 3% of the world for back pain and neck pain. Dare to be a little bit different with what it is that we do. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have this idea. Students all the time, I practice upper cervical. That means that there's two bones and there's two sides. How hard could that be? And so everybody wants to know, well, what are you going to do when somebody comes in with a broken knee? I'm going to adjust their atlas. Unproven people in an unproven market with an unproven product. And you know what? You can laugh at it now the same way people laughed at YouTube. But someday, this will be accepted just like Google, YouTube, and eBay. Everybody's going to do it. Everyone's going to do it. So Seth Godin, anybody know who that is? Seth Godin has a great book. This is a fascinating whole thing too. We could talk all day about this book that's called All Marketers Are Liars. It's this interesting thing. So Judd and Liam, you need to take note of this. Titles are everything. This is one of Seth's lowest or worst producing books because of the title. All Marketers Are Liars. So who's it for? It's for marketers. So you don't want to be like a marketer, right? Standing around like with your book and on the outside it says, all marketers are liars. And you're like, hey, what do you do? I'm a marketer. And so this book didn't really sell that great because of the title. But in this book, he talks about first impressions. And so what is the world's first impression of chiropractic? And this is where I need to be very clear with you. First impressions, have you ever heard you never get a second chance at making a first impression? That's true, but what we need to be clear about in this room is that first impressions are not the same as first encounters. Super important. So people's first encounter with chiropractic might be you standing in the elevator, but that's not their first impression. It could be, but it may not be. How do people form their first impression? Well, they use their 5 senses, but everybody's impressionable on different levels. Some people's first impression is based almost entirely on smell. That's one of the big things that I love to talk about. I mean, when we talk about breaking it down and getting real serious about being successful in chiropractic business, what is the smell of chiropractic? Nobody's having that discussion, are they? We're talking about something else. I don't want to talk about that. You want me to show you how serious that is, how important that is? Does anybody know what the smell of Abercrombie and Fitch is? Yep. Get close to that in the mall, and it starts coming at you. You're just walking, you're like, Abercrombie and Fitch. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not like it. Do you think Abercrombie is conscious of the smell of Abercrombie and Fitch? See, all you want to know is how to talk about it, but what about how to make it smell right? Is that important? Like Lacey mentioned, we have multiple offices. The offices have to smell a right way. So that when people smell the smell, they know right away the specific chiropractic center. That's important. Should it sound a certain way? We have in-depth discussions about Pandora music stations. Are there certain stations that are more apropos or that sound a certain way for your office? Or do you just flip it up on a dime? One day we're rocking Jimi Hendrix, the next day we got, a little soft Harry Connick Jr. going. Like, that doesn't work, right? And those of you that know what I'm saying, switch the music in your office and watch what the patients say. Well, what's going on here? What's this, Conway Twitty? Turn that stuff off. Like that, they get bothered by it. If it's a conscious thing that you've created, then it becomes a part of their consciousness. Now, which one is more important, smell or sound? I don't know. The answer is I don't know. See, we're hung up on what I say and what I do, and you know what? The last thing probably in it is what they feel. Because by the time they actually get on the adjusting table and actually feel something from you, they've already been bombarded in their 5 senses, and they've already formed a first impression. Right, we get really hung up on the adjustment. I'm really big on the adjustment. I teach a whole program in upper cervical. I'm really big on that needs to be absolutely right. But I'm also really big on that's the last thing that they actually experience in the deal. By the time they get on the adjusting table with me, it's already sold. It's already done. They're locked in. Or they're locked out. They've already decided one way or the other. And we're not giving enough emphasis on all of the things that lead up to that. And so today I want to share with you 4 things that we need to know in order to effectively communicate with people. Number 1 is you must be very clear on your target market. Now, this is very confusing to people. There is a big distinction between ideal client and target market. So when I say to people, like, what's your target market? They say, well, females who go to Lululemon and work out and do yoga. That's ideal client. Ideal client is that fictitious, that movie Weird Science? Where they create that fictitious girlfriend, that's ideal client. You sit in your mind and you're like, who is the person with whom I do my absolute best work? Who are they? They don't really exist, but you know the characteristics of them. From there, target market is where you find them. Target market is where those people reside, where you find them. So you could say, listen, my ideal client is that 30-year-old Lululemon wearing, goes to yoga, goes to the gym, and therefore my target market is yoga studios. See how that works? Not everybody in the yoga studio is an ideal client, but they're the target market. And inside the market, there is my ideal client. Now this is what I need for everybody to at least take away from today. You cannot ever say, when I say to you, who's your target market, you cannot ever say everybody. That's terrible. That's suicide. Marketing a laptop computer to a 24-year-old single male who participates in extreme sports. The marketing for a computer for that person looks very different than marketing the exact same computer to a mother of 3 who's happily married and lives in the suburbs. Same computer. Marketing chiropractic to one target market looks totally different than marketing it to another. Communicating chiropractic to one target market looks different than communicating it to the other. So number 1 is you have to identify your target market. Number 2, you have to go into the target market and identify their urgent needs and compelling desires. Now what does that mean? Urgent needs are the things that your target market is trying to move away from. Where are they trying to get away from? So the common answer that I receive with chiropractors is what? What are your patients trying to move away from? And that's not the answer. So what happens is this, yeah, it's varied, but what did you say?
I said, like, they don't like the idea that their lifetime away to come in, they're forced to come in.
Oh, that they're being forced to come in. So, yeah, sure, that as well. We should talk about that. That target market, some pain happens to, how many of you have had pain in the last 6 months? How many of you sought professional medical counsel for that thing? Like, people get pain all the time. Like, oh, I got a headache, and then you just go on, right? Or, oh man, I hurt my ankle. And pain is not a motivator for people to seek counsel, professional help. Well, what happens is the pain gets so bad that it screws up something in their frame, in their world. Now, you need to become very skilled at knowing what continually happens inside your target market that motivates them to move. And then compelling desires, that's where they're trying to go. So a golfer, if my target market was golfers and they had some issue that was keeping them off the course, then that would be their motivating, their urgent need. And they would say to me though, my golf game is in shambles. Because of this issue, because my back pain or because my feet hurt or whatever, I can't perform or play like I want to. And what's your desire? I want to get back to golf and I want to be better than ever. Really has nothing to do with pain. In fact, that was actually a real case. I want to suggest to you real quick that you actually ask people that. If you're a practicing chiropractor, in the doctor's report, I ask them. We start off the doctor's report. The first thing I say when I come in is I say, hey, I'm going to ask you a question. Before I talk to you about anything, I need to ask you a question. And your answer to this question is actually going to determine whether or not I take you as a patient. And that question, first of all, do you think they're listening to me at that point? That's the first thing I say to them. I'm going to ask you a question, and your answer is going to determine whether or not I take you as a patient. Now, if they've been to other chiropractors that use these practice management gimmicks on them, they're probably thinking, shoot, he's going to ask me about that sublux, that thing, shoot. Or he's going to ask me which stage of degeneration I think I'm in. No. The question is, what are you looking for? Like, you should ask them, what are you looking for? You came here, what do you want? And then they'll say, well, I just want to get out of pain. And then I'll say, swear to you, you can ask Lacey, I just want to get out of pain. Listen, Mary, this is an easy thing. If you just want to get out of pain, let's just go to the bar. I'm going to buy you a whole bottle of Patron. I'm going to put you on a clock, on this giant watch. I'm going to watch it. You'll be able to see. And in 30 minutes, you have to drink the whole bottle of Patron. And if you drink it all in 30 minutes, I guarantee you, your pain will be gone. Wouldn't that work? She said, start drinking. She had pain. And then they laugh, and they're like, oh, that's not what I want. I said, that's what you said you wanted. No, that's not really what I want. And then they'll give you the real answer. Sometimes, too, they'll say, number 2, I just want to know what it is. I swear to you. Sometimes they'll say pain. That's not the most popular. Sometimes they'll say, I want to know what it is. And when they say, I want to know what it is, I'll go back to my mentor, Michael Kale. Well, I just want to know what it is. I say, well, great. This is super simple then. What you have is a very rare condition, remember this, right? Called Fujimori's dripping diabetes. Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And they'll be like, what? What? No. And so now you know what it is. Just Google it. You're good. No. Listen, I only like to put names on things that I want to stick around. Like we name our kids, we name our pets. We don't name diseases. Why do I want to name your disease? I don't want to put this name on it, right? Okay, I see that, and I don't want to know. So what is it that you really want? And people will tell you, I want to, oh, this is going to scare some of you. I want to what? I want to get well. I want to get well. And then I'll say, great, because listen, here's the deal. In this office, we don't do anything geared at getting you out of pain. But we are specialists in helping sick people get well. You're in the right spot. This is very important. You can write that quote down. You're in the right spot. You need to be telling people that you're in the right spot. That's what their psychology is on the day one. When they walk in as a new patient, hello, oh, hello, you must be James. Yes, because you haven't seen this person, right? So you know they're the new patient. You must be James, yeah. Did you have any problems finding the office, James? No. Great, because I want you to know that you're definitely in the right spot. I mean, that's what they want to know, right? Am I in the right spot?
You said at the doctor's report, are you talking about the first day or the second day?
Oh, day 2. Commonly known as day 2 now. This is the new nomenclature, or erroneously called the report of findings. Please don't call it a report of findings. Report of findings are what interns do on grand rounds. It is, no. Like, report of findings is, yes, the blood pressure was 130 over 80. Straight leg raise was positive for pain in the right SI joint at 56 degrees. Do you do that to patients? So it's not a report of findings. I'm going to report my findings. I'm going to give you some recommendations. And you're going to follow them or you're not. So I don't even want to set them up with my language in my lexicon that says I'm going to have a report of findings, because then I'm going to let them down, because I don't report any findings in a report of findings. I make some recommendations. I mean, I make sure that we're very clear. This is what we're going to recommend. Number 1, target market. 2, urgent needs and compelling desires. Number 3, you must know your number 1 biggest result. Oh, this one's so hard. We would have to have a whole other conversation about that. But listen, what results do you get? Practicing chiropractors, go into your patient database and figure this out. Now, regardless of your philosophy, I was working with a guy just last weekend who told me, so I gave him this as a homework. He said, check it out, this is what I know. I like working with people with migraine headaches. I have a lot of patients that have migraines, and what I've noticed is this, that on average, the patient that starts with me is suffering from between 3 and 4 migraine headaches per month. And after a 6-month protocol, they are down to at least 1 migraine headache a month. Now, is this, I cured their migraines? No. But if you have migraines 4 times a month, and I told you, I have a way that we can get it to 1, does that sound appealing to you? All day, every day. So what's your number 1 biggest result? And then lastly, what are the benefits for working with you? Benefits, we use an acronym FEPS, F-E-P-S. There's financial benefits, emotional benefits, physical benefits, and spiritual benefits. That's easy. That's all we talk about, are benefits. But now check it out. If you know that, then somebody asks me, hey Shawn, what do you do? First of all, you never say, I'm a chiropractor, because that allows them to fill in the gap, the blank between all of their preconceived notions about what they think it is. So I would say something like, if I was this guy that I was working with last week, you know how sometimes, especially women, between like 20 and 50 years old, that suffer from migraine headaches, they start to get these migraines on a continual basis, upwards of maybe 4 times a month. And when they get these migraines, they lock themselves in a dark room and shut themselves out from the entire world, and they just go away. Imagine, this is one of the things he calculated too, parentheses, imagine how much time they're losing by doing this. Over a course of a 10-year period, they are giving up 3 years of their life. I'm sorry, 3 months. 3 months of their life in their rooms. Would you like to get that back? Well, you see, what I do is, so urgent needs and compelling desires, right? Target market, urgent needs and compelling. What I do is I work with them utilizing a little-known procedure that takes the link between the brainstem and the first 2 bones of the neck and establishes a normal neurological response in them. And what I've noticed is that over a 6-month period, they move from having 4 migraine headaches a month to less than 1. Done. What are they going to say next? Wow. What do you say? How do you do that? That's funny that you should ask. And now we're having, this is a novel idea, blow your mind. Now we're having a conversation and building a relationship, which is way different than pitching. Takeaways from today. You don't need an elevator speech. You don't need a pitch for chiropractic. You need to learn how to effectively talk to somebody. You don't have to come in leading with your cleats and saying, I'm a chiropractor, and drink green smoothies, and you have to do all these things in order to be in my world. It's a simple conversation. You need to be very clear about who you help and who you don't. You need to know your target market. I am super clear. A couple of you wrote, and so I want to encourage you, if you like this talk, a couple of the things, if you're like, some of it winds up, some of it doesn't, if you go to my website, ShawnDill.com, if you're on a smartphone, just go there right now, put in your name and email, and I'll send you a copy of my last year's tour presentation, which was called Protecting the Dynasty. So you can listen to that on audio and find out a little bit more. We have the 90-10 rule in there. We have a lot of this discussion about what it is that we were talking about today. It's less instructional than this component of today. But if you put this all together, then you can begin to effectively go out and communicate. You don't have to rely on gimmicks. I want you to know that it's not about being gimmicky in chiropractic marketing. There's no gimmicks, there's no tricks. It's about creating strong relationships and communicating effectively to people so that they can actually understand the message. And then lastly, what I was saying before I give you that website, understand that the whole goal of this, and sometimes people get upset, I think Jen wanted to choke me one time, but the whole goal of this is to understand that you can't service all 7 billion. So here's my goal. I want to service only those who I was meant to serve. I only work with the people who I was put on this planet to serve. And I'm pretty clear that I was not put here to serve 7 billion people. That would kill me. I couldn't do it. So if I have limited days, limited time, and limited resources, and only 2 hands, If I am going to lay my hands on somebody, it better be the right person for me. There's a lot of you in here. There's a lot of them out there. If I take one of them and it doesn't match me, I can match them up with her just fine and feel really good about it, right? Because it's about serving. Maybe they don't need upper cervical, don't respond to upper cervical. I don't know. Maybe we just don't get along. I mean, I feel that way about everything in my life. I mean, I'm meant to serve. I'm meant to help some chiropractors be successful and prosperous, right? And some others not so much. Last thing for you, just this one statement. This is your homework. A lot of discussion right now. In 2014, I want to move the discussion in chiropractic away from your why. And no offense to anybody who's very why-oriented. Simon Sinek blew it up on the TED Talks, and it's all about your why. People buy your why more than your what. I don't necessarily myself agree with that, and that's okay, so I think I've shown you that I have a lot of my own strong opinions. I don't think it's so much about your why, so much as it is about what you stand for. So here's the question for you. Tonight, when you go to bed and you get in that bathroom and you see yourself, I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to say, I, Shawn Dill, stand for, and then I want you to fill in the blank. I, Shawn Dill, stand for a world where people understand prosperity and health as fundamental truths rather than fundamental pursuits. That's why people come to me. That's why chiropractors look to me for help. That's why patients look to me for help, because that's what I stand for. Everything that I do and say needs to be in alignment with what I stand for. My why could be something very different. I may do that so that I can spend time with Lacey or buy nice cars or do other things or travel or do whatever. You don't need to know that. What you need to know is what I stand for. So figure what you stand for out tonight. Good deal? Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the show.